craftable. The what? The tops? Okay, so another semi-decent setup, we might be able to do this before the sun goes down, I hope, is going to be this location. The reason why I'm showing you this one is I wanted to show off places that you could rope off with 2 walls initially, because getting pieces and parts in 104 is going to be a challenge at first, unless you have a car. But even with a car, you have to go find the planks, you have to make sure nobody steals the car. I mean, you have to build the car first, so I'm trying to find places where you can create outposts and do looting and create very minimal footprint. And I know we've got a lot of this set up here, and again, this is 102. I'm trying to show base locations, ideas for 104 that's coming up. And again, with server hopping being what it is, people can no longer be geared and spawn in houses on the shoreline. Like, they will all get rounded up in one location, so they can no longer use it to ghost inside of a house, building, whatever, or base. They just can't, which is great. So creating barricades, locking things in is excellent. Now with 104, you can breach doorways that are locked with lockpicks with melee weapons, and this is another reason why I wanted to show off this location, because this will be purely locked off with just craftable walls. They're much stronger, especially if you have a combination lock. They're gonna give you the fortification you're looking for. Now, and again, we're trying to showcase the stuff that's coming in 104. So I'm trying to show you in 102 with our excessive amount of materials because of all the duping and stuff everywhere, where you might want to start here. And after playing 104 for a hot minute, I can tell you that, trust me, you want stuff on the cheap immediately. So right here, you could create with just 2 walls, and even on the cheap. I'm going to try to grab some of these other materials. I wasn't planning on doing this build here particularly, but let me see if I can't grab some more materials. But yeah, so server hopping is possible, but you can no longer server hop with any form of precision, if that makes sense. You will keep your gear, but you will be put somewhere elsewhere. You'll not be there with the new spawns, but you'll be somewhere inland. So I honestly think that not only cities on the shoreline are a great place to loot, but it's going to keep you away from those geared players initially, which is going to be pretty important. Because those are the threats. The nakeds, I mean, they're kind of a threat, but not really. Oh, see, this is the one I needed to take over there. Shoot. Alright, so you won't have the luxury of having all these tents and stuff here, clearly. We're going to try to take a few pieces over so you guys can feel what it's like to be isolated out there. Is this right? And again, I do have building tutorials, guides out on the DayZ highlights playlist, also in the description. Depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching this as a stream, I'm going to throw it up there on the screen here in a minute. I guess I'll just leave it on the ground, or I'll just throw this over here. I wasn't planning on doing this one here, but I'm going to try to take a small amount of wood over to that location so you can feel what it's like to put this together on the slim. Now, you're going to have to find a lot of these materials, but being so close to this industrial area is going to be a benefit to you. And I'll just throw up the map here real quick. We're sitting in F1. We call that Cherno City. Cherno Industrial is E1 and like a little bit of E2. So if you're looking for those pieces and parts, you're going to head over to E1 and E2 on the map. While I shuffle this up here, I'll just leave the map up so you know what I'm talking about. And then I'm kind of doing this ad hoc. I'm trying to do this before the sun goes down completely. Okay, let me see if I can just shuffle these in here. I want to see if I can grab some of these flashlights with us too, right? Pick up the plank, scrub! Now, you're not going to have the luxury of having all this metal and stuff. It's pretty unrealistic if you're just starting. Yeah, and you definitely want to make sure that you're heading towards plank spawns. I'll try to showcase those here in a second. I think this should be, let me see if I can grab a combination lock. Now, combination locks are going to be a thing. I don't know if we'll need the pliers for this one necessarily. Well, in 102, you will not need the pliers. In 104, you will need the pliers. Hands down, you will need those. Man, I'm kind of glad there's all this extra trash, but I just like shuffling through it. All right, I want to get back to this spot so you guys know what I'm talking about. Pick up the plank, scrub. I just put it back in like a douche. There we go. Okay, we're going to take you. Is this the right one? I think. Close enough. Do I have a hatchet on me? I do now. Okay. I'm hoping I've got all the pieces and parts. Okay, so this is in Cherno City. I think I have a bigger map for this. I'm going to bring this up. So if you're looking at this map and you're going to cut this into quadrants, you have a lower left and a lower right. If you're looking at the lower left, lower right, that gray area at the bottom middle is Cherno City. We're sitting almost dead center. We're kind of close to that little police siren that's a red circle. If that helps you. Let me give you a visual reference while we still have daylight real quick. And I know this seems small, but even having a slight location where you can put things that are semi-secure is going to help you tremendously, because there are going to be loads of wild players moving up and down the shoreline just looking to steal your stuff. And they're not going to be geared. They're not going to have the proper tools to break in. Okay, so if you're coming from the railroad tracks here and you're crossing into Cherno City and you see the watchtower, this is the clock tower. You are going to come down into this courtyard area and then take a left down this road and then head towards this location. I hope that helps. I hope it's not like super confusing. Says, what's up? He says, I play on PS4. I can't wait for the update. I hope it fixes the game. And all accounts, from what we've seen, it looks like it's going to. Like, all the stuff we've been complaining about, I think is going to be either fixed or really a lot better. Okay, so we just came from the courtyard down there. And now we are here. Now, we'll try to do this quickly. And I am going to cheese these poles out. But just remember, in 104, you can no longer do that at all. You have to have the proper amount. We're going to use our fancy boy shovel here. And we're able to create this little secured area right off the rip. Now, in order for this to work properly, to actually keep people out, we're going to need a few things. And again, I'm going to talk about cost of items and why we're going to do this the way we're going to do it. So I'm going to take a full stack of planks. Wow, okay, I was going to say, that's kind of stuck on the ground. You can use a crafting hammer. We're going to use a hatchet. You've seen us do this in the past. Because you can use it to chop and to craft. That is the same in 104 as well. Again, these are coming for, I just want to make sure I'm covering it, coming for Xbox and for the PlayStation. Okay, so we have two options here. We're going to do frames first, because that's going to keep people out. And plus, I'm going to assume that you're going to have minimal amounts of planks to deal with. So you want to do all the frames first, because it's cheap. Hopefully we get through this. And I'm going to drop these here real quick. I'm going to pull this out of the fence kit. I'm going to drop this here. I think we used 8 total for the frames, right? 8 planks. We take the plank here. Hopefully I just didn't mess up my... Sometimes it can mess up the order in the way those things actually operate. I hope not, so it's not confusing. I'm trying to do this so we have daylight. Okay, so now that we have this side, we're going to do the same thing with our hatchet, which I think I put on the ground. Yes, I did. Okay, we're going to do frames first, lower frame. While we're crafting this, the reason why I want to do the frames, upper and lower, obviously we're going to add the lower wall. And the only way you can do that is by having the frame. But the reason why we do the upper frame is because we'll do the lower wall first, and it prevents people from jumping in. Now, if we want any hope of coming in and out of here, we're going to want to add this wire here. Now, again, okay. You're going to need pliers for this. I'm doing this in 102, but in 104, you need pliers to actually craft the fence part, and maybe I still do. Maybe. I think I might. Yeah, I do. Damn it. We'll have to go back to it. Anyways, we'll finish the walls first. Yeah, so we can do that during daylight. One of these walls has to be hinged with metal wire to make it into an actual gate itself. We'll just make this back portion the actual wall. We'll make this swinging door happen here. as I don't want anybody seeing when a door's open and be like, hey, what's that? We'll go steal it. That's what I would do. Alright, we're gonna need more pieces and parts. Did I just lock myself in here? I think I just did. Okay, so I guess another note. You know how easily I can scooch through here right now? It's much more difficult in 104 to almost impossible depending on where you're at. So keep that in mind. And if you stick things like barbed wire or even the mesh barricade that you can fill up with dirt on the opposite side of the wall, even if they break in the lower wall, they still can't get in. It says, you know, you can crawl under the lower frames once the wall is destroyed. Yes. It is possible in 104, but it's much more difficult. We had one hell of a time doing it. Yeah! We're gonna grab our... I was hoping we had those parts. Now I just hope I have enough flashlights to show everybody what's going on. At least we got one of the smaller pieces, well, hopefully situated there. Okay, so we have planks, we got this. Let me just see if we need these other parts. Yeah, we're doing this in 102 because we have access to all this trash everywhere. But it's definitely going to help things when you transition over. There it is. Transition into 104 because you have to look at everything different. Bases mean something. Barricading stuff actually has like a function. I mean, I guess it kind of did before, but please let this be the one with the stuff in it. Oh wait, I think I know where I might have stashed it. Alright, so another thing to note. Not only do you need those pliers, you'll need to be on the correct side of the wall to pull anything off of there. What is a crowbar still work as intended, but you must be on the inside of the wall to break it down. You cannot be on the outside and break it down. It is impossible. I might as well just take this one, right? And also attacking the wall on the strong side will be a lot more, I guess, hit points, but it takes more time to break it down depending on the tool. And you can no longer just clean things up from the outside. Remember how easy it was in 102? Or say, we are playing 102, so I'm all confused. Okay, yeah, we're on the right side. You can no longer just take off combination locks in 104. You have to have the right code, which is the way it's intended. There's also a 4-digit combination lock and also the 3-digit combination lock. So you can start this in phases, right? You can do this initially with a fence here and kind of work your way up to making the gate portion here. Because I know you're not going to find these right away, and if you do, then you're super lucky because you got a great roll. Okay, let's attach this, and let's get our hatchet, and we're going to do the lower wall first. If this is... Okay, build lower wall. And this should be enough once you build the lower wall to keep people out. Then you can start to add things as you go. Excellent. Okay, so, and this does work now in 102, the way it's going to work in 104, where you can't just jump into that and get through because of the fence, or I'm sorry, the upper frame that's going on there. I know it's simple, but it does make a world of difference. So this is now roped off. And let's see if we get our pliers here. And now we can attach the gate. Okay, so this does work as intended. Nice, we have the hinge. And if you're raiding a base and you'd like to take these off, you have to have pliers with you to remove it. That is also a thing. I'm going to go ahead and drop this in hopes that the flashlight works as intended. Although things aren't like rotating the way they used to either. Well, either way, we'll try to get it there. Let's get our nails quick. And let's attach our planks, shall we? So at least you can see on the cheap what it's going to take to make a semi-loaded up or defensible. So you could like keep your loot in here and not have to worry about somebody just stealing it outright. They'd have to make the combination lock to get in here. I know it's simple, but it makes a difference. says, I found several crash sites, just no guns, only gear. Oh, yes. Also, in 104, finding crash sites is going to definitely be a thing for you guys because there's no dupers to steal from. But the crash sites will spawn with their own set of zombies now. Pretty crazy, right? So now, even though we did this on the cheap, you've got a semi-decent place to lock up that people just can't melee their way into. They have to actually raid the structure to make it happen. And you can even store loot in here, and make it extra heady. Now, if you have more planks, obviously you're going to build up these back walls here. Hopefully we can still do this with a decent amount of daylight. Where's that chest at? I'm trying to do this quickly. Oh yes, in 104, you'd be glad to know there are 2 slots on every book bag, or on every bag. So this mountain backpack would have an additional row on the top for a transceiver, a walkie-talkie, and a glow stick. Every bag has one. So I could turn this on and attach it to my chest on my strap, and I could walk around and basically have illumination. I cannot tell you how useful that is. It's very. And now that you can throw, you can light a glow stick and then throw it in. Hopefully I have enough of these glow sticks over here so it's not like stupid obnoxious. Although I have a feeling it might be. And we'll add the combination lock here to show you what's up. And again, if you loot over in the... Oh, that's bright. If you loot over in the Cherno industrial area, I think it's this map here, it's going to be to the right of the map where you see like those long row of maroon crates. If you loot up and down there, all of those industrial areas, you're going to find shovels, nails, planks, combination locks, all kinds of goodies there. And this is all in Cherno City, which again on the bigger map is E1, E2, which is Cherno Industrial, and then Cherno City is F1. And then while you're in the city, you have access to, you know, food, other supplies. It's just a good place to get started, I think. I'm going to attach these to the wall, and we'll finish these up. Do I have a combination lock with me? No, I'll go grab it on the other side. So another thing to consider, if you are lucky enough to get metal sheets, where the wood is here, you can add metal sheets, adding even more defense to your wall. And then if you had the luxury of wood, you could do wood on the upper portion, creating that many more hit points and time between you and the people trying to get in. Also worth noting, those mesh barriers, the ones you place and then fill up with dirt, you can place those on the interior of this to create even more barricades. So if they were to break in, I mean, if they could weasel into the hole, they can't get past the mesh barrier at all. Barrels would work the same, especially if you filled them up with liquid. It gets very dirty very quickly, and that's just one of the many reasons why 104 is great. It's going to change how you store loot. It's going to change how you loot things in an area. You don't have to worry about these geared players just dropping in behind you or on top of you. They literally have to be a part of the server and be there to do anything, like for them to sign in. They would have to basically have signed out in one of the buildings prior to get anywhere close to you. Alright, hopefully we've got, there we go. I just want to show a combination lock. Now I know the combination locks don't work as they should here in 102, but in 104 they do. Just want to show how this is going to work over here. And honestly, yeah, before you sign out, you can just slap a lock on there, do whatever. We'll button this up all the way so you can see just how it could be more fortified. All right, let's grab another glow stick. That seems to be the best way to illuminate the area for right now. Plop. And we'll close this bad boy. And we'll stick our little combination lock on. Now, as it stands now, 102, you can pop these locks off, no problem, no tools. Or it gets glitched even when you put them back on, so the combination is going to be 1-1 across the board. I think I just attach it. Before we could just do it, slap it right on there. Bingo. Okay, so now it's locked. Now what we'll do is we'll take these planks and we'll try to finish off this side and this doorway. So most likely you'll have planks before anything else, and that's totally understandable. Did I drop my hatchet? What a scumbag. Okay, yes. Okay, it's right there. Phew. I thought I dropped it back there. I was like, please no. Okay, build upper wall. If we brought in the frame a little bit, it would be much easier to stop somebody from doing a little crease shot on you. But in this back wall, you can do something quite interesting. You could continue the build and create a little platform. And you've seen us do this in a lot of places. Orange, other places. Let's see, build platform. And I think we can even do left stairs. Let's try the right stairs. And if you have barbed wire, oh my goodness, that does a lot. And I think if you put the barbed wire in the lower and upper slots, I believe the upper slot will stop zombies, which is an interesting fact. So if we create this as more of a... And this can get you started. Like, this isn't the end-all, beat-all. This just kind of creates a spot for you to dump some loot initially. And then add to this area. You can start to open up and rope off more areas in between these buildings. It's just one of many ways you can get started. Create an outpost for you to at least stage your loot and keep on looting, and then, you know, push forward to your other build, or even add to this alleyway. Let me see if we can get some more here. Oh man, and I hope there's no problems with this, so we can get this thing next week. What is it? Today's the 20th of July. It should be next week. Fingers crossed for PlayStation and the Xbox. Please, please, please be done. Alright, where's our trusty hatchet? Hopefully you guys can see this well enough. Ducky tape. I'll try to use a flashlight too once we get out of here. Alright, there we go. Build upper wall, please. I think this is a nice core to start with, and then build out from here. Because then people actually have to raid this, and they can't just melee breach a doorway as if you were to lock this. I know it's not a 102, but in 104 you can breach doorways with melee objects. I could do it with a shovel, crowbar, all kinds of goodies. And then if we add more areas and rope them off here, let me see if I can at least get this. Next tile, we'll make this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. 1. Let's see if I get this one right. Yeah, what's weird in this version, if you pop this off, it doesn't work again, which is extremely broken right now. But again, don't worry about it. 104 is going to have the fix. 0, 1. Oh, it just pops off immediately. Interesting. So yeah, what I'm talking about is if we had more... One of these flashlights work, please? There we go. If you start to rope off more of this alleyway, and then you've got, let's say you put a doorway here, and then you were to take this area here and then rope it off, you now have, obviously you'd have to lock these doors and barricade this building, and then you'd have to place another wall here, but you're creating more layers for people to pop into. You've got more building that you can take over, because once you take over a building like this, you've got shooting ports or holes all over the place. Like this is nice. Pop, pop, pop. I think this has a front side too, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. I think the front side. Yeah, it does. Okay. From back here, look, we can see into the street. You've got a lot of possibilities. So start small and build outwards, because supplies will be very scarce. Things are going to go back to normal. I know it's hard to believe since duping has been a thing for so long here in consoles, but it will be. Looting will return to normal. And then that's not a bad place to get started with an outpost and keep stacking that loot, baby. I'll try to walk you out in the dark to the tower so you know what I'm talking about. I know it's super dark here. And then you know what time it is because of the clock tower. And And we're in Cherno, on the shoreline. So if you did die, you would at least have the respawn ability to come back semi-quickly. And you're out of the way of most people that would come in and do you harm. I wouldn't say you're invincible, but you definitely are in a better position than being right on top of where they would potentially spawn off the random spots, so yeah. One of many reasons why. 104